Good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference. First, an announcement. At the invitation of State Councilor and Foreign Minister Jinping, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade of Zimbabwe, Frederick Shava, will pay an official visit to China from May 27th to June the 2nd. Now questions, please.
CCTV. We noted that yesterday, the 2023 Global Trade and Investment Promotion Summit was opened, and many were optimistic about China's economic prospect and said that decoupling will give extra burden on economic development of the world. The chairman of the Siemens and the CEO of NVIDIA in the interview said that the Chinese market is irreplaceable. What is your comment? Since early this year, the Chinese economy has continued to show sound momentum of recovery with greater market potential, which was welcomed by foreign investors. In the first 4 months of this year, China's actual use of foreign capital hit 500 billion yuan, up by 2.2% year-on-year. A recent report of China Council for the Promotion of International Trade shows that 92% of the surveyed foreign-funded enterprises see no change in China's role in global investment decision-making. Swiss Center's recent report shows that 62% of surveyed Swiss companies in China expect to see higher profit for their companies for 2023. These facts show that the companies are optimistic about China's economic prospect, and China is still attracting a lot of global investment. China cannot develop in isolation from the world, and the world also needs China for its development. We will stay committed to fostering a market-oriented, law-based, and world-class business environment and share with companies of all countries China's market and openness dividend. China will never close our door to the world. We're ready to work together with all countries that wish to pursue win-win cooperation with us for global prosperity and common progress. Next one, please.
Thank you. Question from Reuters.
路透社，越南表示要求中国的海警船离开其领海。这些船只进入了越南的专属经济区，并且接近俄罗斯的油气田。您可以提供任何评论吗？中方是否与俄方或者越南进行了交流？
China has sovereignty over Nansha Islands and its adjacent waters and jurisdiction over relevant waters. Relevant ships of China carry out normal activities under the China's jurisdiction. It is legitimate and lawful. There is not an issue of entering other countries' exclusive economic zones. We have maintained communication with relevant parties on this issue. We would like to work with them to jointly safeguard the peace and stability of of South China Sea, and we will definitely protect China's lawful rights and interests. Next one, please. Global Times.
Global Times. Recently, tensions on the Korean Peninsula are building. The US, Japan, and the ROK continue to promote the sharing of DPRK missile warning data in real time, agreed to enhance trilateral security cooperation, and held military missile defense drills with other countries. The US and the ROK held the combined annihilation firepower drills near the demarcation line between the DPRK and the ROK, imposed further unilateral sanctions on the DPRK, and may hold the first meeting of the military consultation group. The DPRK media published several comments condemning the US forging a US-Japan-ROK trilateral military alliance, promoting NATO-style nuclear sharing, and creating a NATO replica in Asia, in Northeast Asia, which poses a major threat. What's your comment? China follows closely the recent developments of the situation on the Korean Peninsula. We are concerned over relevant parties patching up exclusive military cliques, carrying out various kinds of provocative military drills, and stepping up extended deterrence and intelligence sharing. These moves do no help to alleviating the situation on the peninsula. They will only heighten up arms race, disrupt the nuclear non-proliferation regime, and harm the strategic security interests of other countries. Next one, please.
发言人你好，俄通塔斯社记者提问。
TASS. Japanese Prime Minister is planning to attend a NATO summit scheduled for July in Lithuania. He is expected to hold bilateral talks with NATO Secretary General to discuss NATO's plan to open a liaison office in Tokyo. What is your comment? The second question. It has been learned that the Black Sea food deal has been extended for another 2 months. So far, Western countries have not fully complied with the agreement. They have only supported the Ukraine part. But Russia has been restricted by the West from freely exporting food around the world. How does the Foreign Ministry comment on this situation?
On your first question, the Prime Minister of Japan's plan of attending the NATO summit, we noted relevant reports and is following the issue. It is China's consistent belief that developing relations between countries needs to be conducive to world peace and stability and not targeted at or harmful to the interests of any third party. The Asia-Pacific lies beyond the geographical scope of the North Atlantic. NATO's east-forward foray into the Asia-Pacific will undermine regional peace and stability. Countries in the region should be on high alert. China should draw lessons from the history and be committed to peaceful development and do not do anything that damage mutual trust between regional countries and undermines regional peace and stability. On your second question, on the Black Sea Grain Initiative, China hopes that the Black Sea Grain Initiative can be implemented in a balanced, comprehensive, and effective manner and welcomes that relevant parties reach consensus on the extension. China supports relevant parties to maintain communication and seek a solution that meets the concerns of all sides. China also put forward the Cooperation Initiative on Global Food Security and would like to strengthen communication and cooperation with all parties over this to build up international consensus and contribute to world food security. Next one, please. Lady first. CRI. We noted that the official website of FOCAC issued an announcement of the results of the My Dream painting competition for African youth yesterday. Can you share more with us? In March this year, the Secretariat of the Chinese Follow-up Committee of the FOCAC, the China Manned Space Engineering Office, and the Chinese Diplomatic Consular Missions in Africa co-hosted a painting competition on the theme of My Dream. More than 2,000 African youngsters submitted their paintings, of which 50 stood out and were awarded the Tianhe Prize and other prizes. Later this year, the hosts of the competition will organize an awarding ceremony and invite some of the winners to China. The youth are ambitious and passionate dream chasers. The youth from Africa, with their colorful paintings, have expressed the best wishes for China-Africa cooperation, peace and development, human progress, and a better life. This is a true picture of the cultural exchanges and people-to-people bond between China and Africa. China stands ready to offer a platform for African youth to show the world their youthful vitality and their African dream, and renew the China-Africa friendship. In the meantime, we stand ready to share our experience and outcomes in the development of high-tech, enhance technology transfer in the agricultural and industrial fields to give a boost to Africa's modernization drive. I'd like to take this opportunity to send my best wishes to the African youth who are so ambitious, passionate, and hardworking in their pursuit of dreams. I hope that their vitality and vigor will be a source of stability, development, and prosperity for the African continent and a driving force for renewing the enduring China-Africa friendship. Next one, please.
北海道新闻提问。
Hokkaido Shinban. Professor Yuan Kequn of Hokkaido University of Education has been under detention for 4 years. His family doesn't know how he's doing. Please brief us on his physical condition and the current progress of the case. In Japan, there are growing voices calling for the release of Professor Yuan. How does China view that?
I'm not aware of the specifics that you mentioned. I can tell you that China is a country based on the rule of law, and relevant cases will be handled in accordance with law.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
谢谢凤凰卫视记者提问。
Phoenix.
The UK government issued a new 6-monthly report on Hong Kong, making irresponsible remarks on Hong Kong affairs. Do you have any comment? The Hong Kong SAR government has issued a press release refuting UK's so-called 6-monthly report on Hong Kong. 26 years after Hong Kong's return, the UK, clinging to its old colonial dream, still attempts to interfere in Hong Kong affairs through this misleading report, which is entrenched with ideological bias and distorts facts. This gravely violates international law and the basic norms governing international relations. We strongly deplore and reject this. Since the return of Hong Kong, the Chinese government has remained firmly committed to fully and faithfully implementing one country, two systems, Hong Kong people administering Hong Kong, and a high degree of autonomy. Hong Kong residents now enjoy far more rights and freedoms in accordance with the law than they did before 1997. With the continued success of the law on safeguarding national security and the new electoral system, Hong Kong has brought chaos to an end and restored order and is now set to prosperity, with rule of law and business environments improving, confidence from foreign investors growing, and its status as an international finance, trade and shipping hub further consolidated. The UK has no sovereignty, jurisdiction or right of supervision over Hong Kong after its return to China. The legal basis for the Chinese government's governance of Hong Kong is China's constitution and the basic law, not the Sino-British Joint Declaration. Hong Kong is China's Hong Kong, and Hong Kong affairs are purely China's internal affairs. No discord smearing at Hong Kong or talking down its prospects can disrupt the firm steps of steady and lasting implementation of one country, two systems.
下一个问题。
Next question, please.
From AFP.
法新社，欧盟高级官员表示，昨日与李辉会见，欧方表示，欧方希望中方协助化解乌克兰危机。你对此有何评论？
特别代表。
On the visit of Special Representative Li Hui, China has released information, and you can check and refer to those information. European official welcomed the visit of Li Hui and his engagement with European countries on the Ukraine issue. China's position has been objective and fair on the Ukraine issue, and we have actively promoted peace talks and received extensive understanding and support from the world. We also support Europe to make greater contribution for peace and stability in the region and the world, and strive for a solution that can promote peaceful settlement of the issue. China will continue to play a constructive role in promoting talks for peace. Next one, please.
谢发言人，深圳卫视指新闻。
Shenzhen TV. According to reports, Defense Authority officials from Taiwan region said that the U.S. government has implemented a $500 million arms assistance plan through the president's order. The first batch of Stranger missiles has been delivered. What is your comment? U.S. arms sales to the Taiwan region seriously violates the One China principle, especially the August 17 communique, interferes in China's internal affairs and undermines China's sovereignty, territorial integrity. This is an extremely dangerous move. China is strongly dissatisfied about it and has expressed China's solemn representations. From U.S. official publicly saying that the U.S. should destroy TSMC, to the U.S. attempting to turn the island into porcupine by selling Stranger missiles to it, it has been explicit that the U.S. uses Taiwan to contain China at the expense of the island. The 1.4 billion Chinese people, including Taiwan compatriots, will not accept this. We urge the U.S. side to abide by the One China principle and the 3 China-U.S. joint communiques with concrete actions. Stop military contact with Taiwan. Stop creating investigating new factors that could lead to tensions in the Taiwan Strait and stop conniving and supporting Taiwan Independence Force's scheme of seeking independence by force. Our message to DPP authorities is clear. The attempts of seeking independence by soliciting foreign support and denying reunification process by force is doomed to fail. China will follow closely the situation and firmly safeguard national sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity. Next one, please.
Kyodo News. It is reported that a ministerial meeting will be held in the U.S. talking about semiconductors issue. Do you have any comment on this? My second question is that the Chinese and the U.S. commerce ministers held talks in the U.S. expressing their respective concerns. How do you see this ministerial meeting? And is this a turning point for China-U.S. relations?
Our first question. The economic success in the Asia-Pacific benefited from openness and win-win cooperation. Any kind of regional cooperation framework should remain open and inclusive instead of excluding and discriminating against anyone and seek protectionism in that way. The global semiconductor industrial and supply chains are shaped by the laws of market dynamics and the choices of businesses. In order to contain China's development and protect its hegemony, the U.S. has been politicizing tech and trade issues, coercing and roping in countries to impose export controls on China, which severely disrupts global semiconductor industrial and supply chain stability. China is firmly against this. Such practices serve no one's interests. All sides should join hands to oppose to U.S. economic coercion and bullying acts to safeguard multilateral trade system and protect our long-term interests. And on the meeting between commerce ministers between China and the U.S., you can refer to the information released by a competent department. We have been developing and viewing China-U.S. relations according to the principles proposed by President Xi Jinping. Communication is necessary for China and U.S. Most importantly, the U.S. should not ask for communication and contain China on the other hand. The U.S. should work with China together for the same goal and bring China-U.S. relations back to the right track of sound and stable development. Next one, please. China Daily. According to reports, the State Department of the U.S. spokesperson Miller said that China is certainly capable of launching cyber attacks that could disrupt critical infrastructure services in the U.S. Government and public must stay vigilant. U.S. Navy Minister also said that U.S. Navy has been cyber attacked by China. It is not surprising because China has been doing so in the past 10 years. What's your response? We noted relevant reports. Protecting key infrastructure is the common concerns of all sides. After the Nord Stream pipeline is deliberately destroyed, the perpetrators has not yet been held accountable. Compared with physical damage, cyber attacks against key infrastructure is more challenging to all countries. We noted and are concerned that China, the U.S., NSA, and Cyber Command announced in 2022 that key infrastructure in other countries are legal targets of U.S. cyber attacks. The irresponsible policy has put global key infrastructure under huge risks, with higher possibility of creating cyber Nord Stream incidents. Since last year, Chinese cybersecurity institutions published reports to reveal that the U.S. government has long been launching attacks against Chinese key infrastructure. I believe that Chinese authorities will adopt measures necessary to prevent cyber attacks that would endanger China's key infrastructure.
下一个问题。
Next one, please. More questions?
家好，今天的
That's the end of today's briefing. Have a good weekend. Thank you.